Hi everyone. Tonight we're going to make this video really short and sweet. This is just going to be a brief summary of what you learned in our unit on equations and inequalities. So we're going to go through a quick example about equations and one on inequalities, and then I'm going to leave you all to practice using the remaining practice questions and then check your work afterward. So the equations problem says the table shows the amount of money Abby earns for babysitting. We have a data table that shows the number of hours that she worked, and we have the amount of money that she earned based on those hours. So if we look at the relationship that's happening in the table, remember when we are dealing with an equations problem, we want to look not just down each column of the table, but we want to look across. So from the left side to the right side, how am I getting from 5 to 30? Or from 6 to 36, 7 to 42, and 8 to 48. Well, if you're looking at all of that, then you should notice a pattern of the left side getting multiplied by 6 to give us the right side. So in other words, the hours worked gets multiplied by 6 to give us the amount of money that she's making. Okay, so if we sub in the actual variable for this, instead of writing hours worked, we could write H. That gets multiplied by 6. In other words, that is 6H, and that's equivalent to the amount of money earned, which is M. So 6H equals M, or M equals 6H is the same thing. So our answer is going to be B. M equals 6H is going to be the equation that represents this relationship. Now I know that the problem doesn't ask for this particular type of question, but if you do see a problem like this, I want you to keep in mind, let's say they might extend a question like this and say, if she worked for 10 hours, how much money would she make? Or say she earned $120, how many hours would she have to work to earn $120? Well, then that would mean that the amount of money she would make, M, would be 120, and we want to figure out how many hours she worked. So if we plug that into our equation, 6 times H, which is our missing number, is equivalent to 120. And then we can solve to figure out the number of hours she would have to work by doing the opposite operation, okay, the inverse operation. The inverse of multiplication is division, so when we divide by 6 on both sides, then 120 divided by 6 is actually equal to 20, so the number of hours she would have to work would be 20 in order to make $120. All right, so let's try an inequality problem. In order to make a profit, a car dealer needs to sell at least 75 cars each month. Which number line shows a graph representing this situation? So let's make note that at least 75 means they're selling 75 or more. Okay? So we want 75 or more. So that means automatically we can rule out the graphs that show possibilities below 75, because we're not going to be happy if we sell less than 75 cars. So that means right away C cannot work, because C is showing all possibilities being below 75. And D is very much similar to the same thing, so that is also not going to be our answer choice. So we've narrowed it down to A and B, which both show answer possibilities above 75. So now the question is, do we want to include the 75 as a possible answer or no? Because A has an open circle, which would exclude 75. B has a closed circle, which includes 75. So A essentially is saying that the car sales would be greater than 75. B is saying that the car sales would be greater than or equal to 75. So if it says at least 75, then that means we are okay with selling 75 cars. We might be happier, of course, if we sold more than that, but we are still going to be okay if we sell exactly 75 cars. So that would leave us with answer choice B as the correct answer because it does include 75. All right, so the rest of the practice problems are yours to try. Before you go through and answer each of them, I recommend that you take some time to read through each problem and identify which ones are equations problems and which ones are inequalities problems. Don't forget to check your work when you're finished.